So let's talk about Mario Kart Live Home Circuit that just came out for the Nintendo Switch. This is coming to you from a company that is known to push the boundaries of what traditional gaming is supposed to be, of course, with things like Labo, Amiibo, now Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, and of course with other systems in the past like the Wii U, the DS, the 3DS, and even the Wii. You guys know they like to break the traditional mold on what typical gaming is, and this is no exception here to the rule. This is something a little bit different for gaming, of course. And honestly, all I can really say is this is a really cool concept, and I think there is something special about this toy because this is not your everyday RC car. This is something that's pretty magical and pretty fun, actually. Granted, the price of this thing is very expensive. I'm actually talking, at least here in the US, 99 US dollars. So take that for what it is, depending on your budget and depending if you want to spend it for this toy. But overall, I think this is a really cool concept. And if you weren't aware, this is not Nintendo's first time using technology like augmented reality. They actually used augmented reality technology in their 3DS. Granted, I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw it as like an afterthought and really never used the augmented reality features of the 3DS just because they were kind of not really a gimmick, but they weren't something that really held your attention, unlike Mario Kart Home Circuit. I really do feel like for the first time, Mario Kart Home Circuit, at least for Nintendo, is their first good take on augmented reality, and there is a lot to say about this toy. First and foremost, of course, this is pretty much your traditional Mario Kart, except for you're playing Mario Kart in the real world with a little RC car with a camera on it. And all I can really say is I would personally try this out. If you're unaware, I actually haven't got my hands on this thing just due to the fact that I am one person that does not feel like this thing is actually worth $99. If you do feel like this is worth $99, great on you. But for me, I just don't feel it's worth $99 of enjoyment to me. Sure, there is a lot of enjoyment you could have with this thing, and I actually like the tech behind this thing. And sure, if I bought this thing, I would probably use it. But the thing is, with me, I want to make sure my money or my value lasts with something like this. And I really feel like with something like Mario Kart Live Circuit or whatever it's called, I feel like I would play this for a while and the novelty of this thing would wear off. And then months down the road, I wouldn't even touch a toy like this. Even though I am big into different ideas, I'm also big, especially into Mario Kart. And apparently, from what I'm seeing all around the internet of people playing this thing is traditional Mario Kart. Of course, there is some limitations behind this game, and of course it's not the same thing as like playing Mario Kart 8 on your Nintendo Switch. There are going to be some differences there. I think the biggest difference between this and regular Mario Kart is the fact that this thing doesn't have as much content as regular Mario Kart, and there's not a lot of variety, at least when you compare it to regular Mario Kart. And I think that's the thing that holds me back from actually picking this thing up for myself. I feel like I would play this for a little while again and then not play this after all. I feel like it would just sit in the closet. And another thing that kind of sucks about this toy in particular is this is one toy you really do need a lot of space in your house to play. And for instance, if you don't have a lot of space in your house, you can't actually play this toy. Something I did want to bring up about Mario Kart Live Tour, which a lot of reviewers or a lot of people on the internet don't even bring up, is the fact that you can actually play this thing on traditional carpet in your house. You don't even need like hardwood floors or anything like that to actually play this thing. It's just that, of course, obviously it'll play better on flat surfaces like hardwood floors or tiles and things like that. It's not really meant to be played on carpet, but it can actually run on carpet, at least from what I heard from a couple of different people. So that's pretty cool. So overall, props to Nintendo for making a toy like this and really thinking outside of the box when it comes to traditional gaming. But again, it shouldn't really be too much of a surprise, just because you guys know Nintendo is a company that traditionally thinks outside of the box when it comes to traditional gaming. And if anyone's going to push the envelope with gaming, it's definitely going to be Nintendo. It's not necessarily going to be Sony or Microsoft. They're more concerned about traditional gaming first and foremost, on compared to Nintendo, which always likes to try new ideas in the gaming space. So overall, this is a pretty cool toy. Expensive, yes, Cool, yes. Is it worth it? Depends on your use case and depends on what you think about this toy. But overall, it is a very cool toy. And here's some of the bullet points that this article actually brings up when it actually comes to the good or bad. They actually rate this 7, and it says the good: creating your own tracks, seeing how well the cart goes to replicate the toys, wealth, introduction. And there are some bad things about this. Probably the fact that the cart's not the smartest when it comes to like hitting into obstacles and things like that. And then on top of that, of course, this thing doesn't have a lot of content, and after you've seen it, you pretty much seen it. And I'm sure for most people, or a lot of people anyway, at least in my opinion, I feel like a lot of people aren't going to play this the same amount they would play like a traditional Mario Kart game. It's just not going to happen. For the time being, it's kind of cool. I feel like a lot of people who are buying this are just buying this for like to try this out for the very first time, since this is something kind of special and kind of magical about seeing your own house being turned into a racetrack and seeing Mario being replicated on your Nintendo Switch. So I feel like that's why a lot of people here are actually going to buy this thing, not really thinking about the future of them actually playing this game. Granted, their $99 may not be spent all that well for this toy, but it is what it is. Either way, it's still a very cool toy from Nintendo. And something I wanted to point out, which is not really similar to this. Well, it kind of is similar, but there is a toy, if you didn't know, called Anki Overdrive. I was a big person who was actually very interested in Anki Overdrive, and I actually personally owned Anki Overdrive. It's basically like your traditional slot cars. If you ever had traditional slot cars, granted, these don't actually have slots for the cars to actually race on. It's more of just like pieces of track where your cars could race on, and it had a sensor on it. But the thing is with that game is it kind of played like Mario Kart, because your carts had powers, and then you would use your smartphone to actually control your cars in the real world. And I thought that was pretty cool, and this is pretty much like that, but in a different version, of course. And yeah, I might actually end up trying this, but I probably won't try this honestly at $99, because I feel like $99 for me anyway is just a little bit too expensive to be buying a toy like this for. I'll probably stick to my regular Mario Kart, but once this goes down to like maybe $60 or maybe $50, I'll probably try it if there's some type of deep discount, or maybe they discontinue it years from now and they're just trying to get rid of them or something. I will be trying this because I still think this is a very cool idea. Now, the next one on my list is actually about, I guess, Fire Emblem, because Fire Emblem is coming back to the West, and it's actually going to be released on the Nintendo Switch, and we're going to be getting the first Fire Emblem on the Nintendo Switch, called Shadow Dragon. Fun fact, if you never played Fire Emblem before, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon was actually released in America on the DS, because I am a big Fire Emblem fan, and that one was the original one. Granted, it was from the NES, and it was this one, but it was a remake of Fire Emblem, if that makes sense. So basically, you were playing a modified version of the game, and we never actually got the original release in America. So it is kind of cool that we are getting the original Fire Emblem in America on the Nintendo Switch, and it's very interesting to see how they're actually releasing this, because first and foremost, they're releasing this as a limited time release on the Nintendo Switch. But something else that's very interesting is the fact that they're not releasing it on the NES Online Entertainment System like they normally do with all the NES games for the online service. They're actually introducing this game as a game you would actually just flat out buy for. And it looks like this game is going to be $5.99 just flat out on the eShop for $5.99 on December 4th, and I think it's going to go until like March 31st, so it's something that's kind of very weird about this release. I actually don't know why Nintendo is actually doing these releases like Super Mario 35th Anniversary 3D World Collection, or 3D Collection, and then we have this, which is going to be a limited release. Granted, they also are going to be doing an anniversary edition of this thing, which is going to be priced at $49.99, which is going to be at select retailers, which is going to include a stylized physical NES box and a replica NES game pack and pieces for this thing. Expensive, yes, but if you're a collector of all things Nintendo or all things Fire Emblem, then you're really going to want to buy that anniversary edition of this game for $49.99. What I will say is $5.99 is not too bad for this game if you were to buy this game outright, since this is a first-party Nintendo IP, of course. Honestly, I was a little bit shocked to hear the news that Nintendo, of all companies, was actually going to be releasing this game at $5.99. I thought this would have been part of your online subscription. It would only make sense, but it is what it is, and I'm sure people are going to buy it. And this also makes me question Nintendo if in the future they're going to start releasing games via a la carte, kind of like what they did with the Virtual Console on the Wii U, 3DS, and the original Wii, because this is kind of like what we're seeing here. This could just be a one-off release, or they could start releasing games on the eShop as a la carte when it comes to the old retro games. I would be down for that, actually. $5.99 for me. I know this sounds crazy. Kind of seems kind of expensive for this, considering this is an NES game. Granted, for the most part, I have to keep it real with you. You're going to get your money's worth if you do buy this for $5.99. But I do know originally this wasn't a US release on the original NES. I think this was a Japanese exclusive, or at least in different parts of the world. This game never came to the US. So maybe they had to do some translation, and maybe that's why the price is $5.99 instead of something like a $4.99. Release for this game. But yeah, this is actually pretty cool, and this shows the times Nintendo is in right now, and this shows that anything is possible with Nintendo, because let's face it, if this can come to the US, and this was never originally an original NES game for the US market, then maybe there's still a chance, yes, still a chance that Nintendo somehow cares about Mother, and maybe one day we'll get Mother 3 on a Nintendo platform translated, but I doubt it. The fans been waiting so many years for Nintendo to actually release more Mother games in the West, and honestly, I just don't see Nintendo doing that. But maybe there's a slight chance now, since this has gotten over to the US market and it's fully translated, and you can officially buy it on December 4th. So this is something that is actually very cool. Now, the next one on my list is actually about Sony, because it looks like Sony confirms that a lot of these streaming services are going to come on day one to the platform. Like, for instance, Disney Plus, Netflix, and Twitch will be there on the PS5 launch, and that's actually something that's pretty important. A lot of people take these services for granted because they're just there on their system, but it is glad to see these returning for the PS5 launch, especially when a lot of people actually use their gaming consoles for streaming boxes and streaming movies and TV shows to begin with. So it's very cool. You'll have more functionality outside of just playing your traditional games, and it's nice that they're bringing the big hitter right away, which of course everybody knows Netflix is a household name around the world, and if one service had to come, of course, that would definitely be Netflix. Everyone knows Netflix. Everybody watches Netflix. Netflix is just too big of a giant in the streaming space. It makes sense, and it's cool that Sony wants a leg up right away just to have this on there so they can say they have one of the biggest streaming platforms, which is Netflix. It's also cool, of course, they got things like Disney Plus and Twitch to actually come to the platform on day one. Keep in mind, it says right here, there is no Prime Video, HBO Max, or Hulu coming on day one. But honestly, I think for a lot of people, it's not that big a deal because, one, the primary use, obviously, of game consoles is to play games, and probably more people are going to be playing games right away on their system. So it's okay if they're missing applications to begin with. And then second of all, you have to realize at least they got the biggest one out of the way first, which is Netflix, of course. And a lot of people get Netflix because I think it is the biggest streaming service on the planet, of course. So it's nice they already have that. So overall, pretty cool, and it'll be ready for you to watch right away. And then it said more streaming apps are going to be coming to the platform, of course, like Amazon Prime Video, Hulu, and even the brand new Peacock streaming service, which I actually don't hear a lot of people talk about Peacock from NBC, but they have some pretty cool content. And the cool thing about Peacock is, unlike some of these other services who have streaming movies and TV shows, Peacock actually has a free tier when it actually comes to their service. So that's one thing I've always liked about Peacock. Granted, Peacock is a fairly new service. I think it came out in July or August of this year, so it's very new to the streaming game, and they actually don't have a lot of variety, and they actually don't have a lot of content. Granted, what I will say is it does have more than this one right here, Apple TV Plus, because I actually do use Apple TV Plus, and for me personally, Apple TV Plus just doesn't have the quantity of movies and TV shows, and the quality's just not there. I mean, yes, for the TV and movie shows that they have on the platform, it is a very solid platform. I mean, the quality is very top notch. It's like any other quality movie or TV show you would actually watch, but just the fact that they don't have a lot of variety on the platform, they don't have a lot to offer to begin with, it's kind of a bummer. Granted, Apple TV Plus is kind of like Disney Plus. It's in a situation where they don't charge much to begin with. I think the Apple TV Plus subscription is only like $4.99 a month for that service, so what do you expect for $4.99 a month? And I guess they're okay with not giving you a lot, considering also anytime you buy a brand new Apple device, you do get a year free of Apple TV Plus, so a lot of people get that right out the gate when they get an Apple device. So it is interesting that you are going to be able to watch Apple TV, Disney Plus, Netflix, Spotify, Twitch, YouTube, Amazon Prime Video, Hulu, and Peacock. It pretty much means that, of course, all the streaming services are eventually one day going to come to the PS5. That only makes me wish that Nintendo would do the same thing with the Switch. Of course, with the Switch, when it comes to things to do outside of the actual system, it's kind of a bummer that we don't have other options. It's not really a big deal since, again, you buy these systems to play video games, and it's not like you already have other options anyway to watch your favorite streaming service, but it's just something to think about. Now, the last one for today is actually going to be about the brand new Beats Flex that are coming out from Apple. And I actually think these are pretty cool headphones now, especially when the iPhone 12 doesn't ship with wired headphones in the box that are Lightning compatible. You don't really have too many options. And of course, they're always trying to entice people to go wireless and spend that extra cash. And now that they don't have those USB Lightning headphones in the box with the iPhone 12, of course, they want to have a very cheap alternative to those if you just want some wireless headphones. So they are making the Beats Flex. Of course, don't expect much with the Beats Flex for $50. The biggest thing with these headphones, of course, you can see in the image with this girl wearing them, of course, is the fact that they are still kind of wired pair of headphones. They got a wire between the two individual earbuds. Of course, they are still wireless because they don't actually connect to your smartphone via a wire, of course, but these are the much more older style wireless headphones, which there's nothing wrong with that, and sometimes that can even be more convenient than having wireless earbuds because you're less likely to lose something like this. Honestly, but then again, in general, it's much more of a hassle because you still have to have like a wire wrapped around you somewhere, and sometimes it can get caught, sometimes it can get messy, and of course, the biggest downside to having a wire is it could snap to begin with, and once it snaps, you're out of luck, which wireless headphones, you're less likely to break, especially those true wireless earbuds that are always in a case that you take out because they're always protected when you're done using them. But overall, I think for what you're paying for, $50 is not that bad for these headphones. If you need a wireless pair of headphones, again, at least they are Beats certified and they are a Beat branded headphone from Apple, so you know at least you are getting some quality there. I'm not going to really touch base on whether Beats are good or bad. I'll let you make up your mind on that aspect of the headphone, but just the fact that it is Beats, it does give you some confidence that your $50 is spent well compared to the competition. And then one of the most nice things about these headphones, of course, for the $50 is going to be the fact that you do have that, I think, A1 chip from Apple or whatever it's called, or W1 chip. Basically, when you turn these on, they automatically pair to your smart device, which is actually nice from Apple, and that's one of the reasons why you would actually choose these over the competition if you just wanted a wireless pair of headphones to actually use. I can see a lot of people who never got wireless headphones to begin with maybe just pick up these pairs for $50 and be okay with it, or maybe you just want a backup pair to use like when you're exercising or when you're out and about and you don't want to worry about damaging more expensive pairs or losing your AirPods or whatever the case may be. These aren't really a bad pair for $50, and yeah, I'm not surprised they have a 7.5 score for the average score of these things. They're probably not great, but they're probably not trash either. They're probably somewhere in the middle. They're probably just something that just flat out works, and they are nice. I think they had a pair of these before, I want to say, but they were much more expensive to begin with. I think they were well over $100 or something like that, so it's nice that these are a budget-friendly option for people who just need a wireless pair of headphones that just work, especially with the iPhone, with the whole convenience factor in the mix. So that's something that's actually very cool. Don't expect much for $50, but $50 should be a solid pair of headphones, and I don't think for $50 most people are going to complain about these headphones. And yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. Anyway, guys, this is Wayne from My Tech News, signing out.